On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about dealing with it, something we don't do well, by D.R.I. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. I don't know why we've been opening episodes like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting weirder and weirder.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today we are talking about an album from back in 1983 by a band called the Dirty Rotten Imbeciles,
right,
a.k.a. D.R.I.
They were coined that by, was it
one of their parents?
Was it Spike's father or Kurt's father? I can't remember. It was one of them.
I believe it was Kurt and Eric.
Kurt and Eric, right. Eric is not in the band anymore, but
yes. Found when the band was found, when the band was founded.
Right.
Two brothers playing in it, and their father disapproved. And you can hear his disapproval on the album, in fact. A clip of him interrupting their band practice.
I don't even want you here at all.
He said that, and I think he also said, like, I don't need you.
I don't need you. I don't even know who you are.
I guess, like, I always pictured him saying that to one of his own children. And I was like, look, I know some parents are not great people, much less good parents. Mm-hmm. But I can't imagine saying that to like a child, just like, I don't need you. I don't need you. And like casually, like it wasn't a screaming match. He was just, annoyed.
Right.
But also, and we'll talk more about that later, but it's a funny, but also bizarre clip because the band is from Southern California, and good God, do they sound like it?
Well, Texas originally. Houston, yeah.
Then they were in Southern California, and then they moved to San Francisco.
Right.
After they started, having some measure of success as a band, but they really sound like their dad. On the other hand, in that clip, sounds like he is like 70 years old.
Yeah, a very tired Texan.
He's just and not a very strong accent either.
No, but it's there.
He sounds like an old man. And these guys just like, Dad, what's up, dude? Like the most SoCal you could possibly sound.
You've been playing for 4 hours. You didn't tell us to stop. Well, I'm telling you now.
Yeah. It's that part is like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never been in a band. Mm-hmm. Does band practice need to go for 4 fucking hours?
I would hate that.
That'd be terrible.
I've been in a couple of bands, and if it ever went 4 hours, I'd be like, I'm quitting. I don't ever want to see you guys again.
Like, it's different if you're like, maybe on a roll and actively going like, oh shit, like we're onto something here. Let's keep on jamming. Mm-hmm. But if just band practice, like 4 hours is a lot.
Right.
That's a lot.
And then you consider the length of their songs.
Yeah.
How many times did they play their songs? I mean,
many. They could have done so many times over.
Well, what's 60 times 4?
60 times 4.
240.
Yeah, 240.
So that's 240 songs.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't think they were playing nonstop without. That's generally not how band practices go,
it's not.
I believe.
Right.
You don't. You don't play an entire album back to front without breaks, generally speaking.
Sometimes you do, especially if you're about to go record it.
If you're about to go record it, or if you're preparing to do that on tour, right. I guess you might do that. But even then, while you're on stage, you probably want an opportunity to take, a little bit of a break. Some songs require a reset. Maybe you need to change tuning. There's stuff you might need to do. And you might not.
We're not talking about D.R.I. anymore, are we?
We're not. No, they wouldn't give a shit about that.
No, they have to make sure the oboe is tuned.
Yeah. That is one thing I've always found interesting because for a while, and maybe I'm wrong about this and just making an assumption that this is the way it works. Mm-hmm. But certain bands performing, when you see a rack of guitars on the side of the stage, I'm like, why do they have
They're all
so
tuned
many
differently.
guitars. Yeah, because they're in different tunings, and you just pick up, instead of having to tune your one guitar, you just pick up your other guitar in a different tuning.
And also, if you break a string while you're on stage,
you just pick up a different guitar.
Yeah, you don't. Oh, hey guys, believe me, I've done that. I did this in Moreto, Georgia. We're playing a show, and I didn't own a second. I was sleeping on a kitchen floor.
Yeah.
I didn't have a second guitar.
It's one of those things you can't do unless you're maybe a somewhat successful band or you have a good day job.
And we had none of that.
Yeah.
So, so I broke a string one time, and I'm trying to fix it, and somebody just told a story. And then I borrowed somebody else's guitar for the last 3 songs.
I saw that happen at a show here in Minot. That was like a little show that got played at the fucking Blue Rider of all places.
If you don't know, the Blue Rider is a room the size of your average 1-stall garage.
Yeah, it is a tiny bar. I would say of the bars that I've been to in Minot, it's probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, same here.
It's the one that I was never upset to be like, hey, we're gonna go to the Rider. And be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go there, because the vibe is chill. It's a weird mix between like Minot art hipsters and college professors.
Right.
Those are the main demographics that go to the Blue Rider.
And the guy who used to own it was both of those. He was the art professor at the college. The guy who owns it now used to work in radio.
Yeah,
and
so it's like nothing has really changed.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, and he every time he comes, T will come into the bar that I work in, and he'll sit down and play blackjack, and he'll look at me like, where the fuck are you? We had meatballs last night.
Why didn't you come to my bar?
Why'd you come to my bar?
But yeah, there was like a punk show being played at the Blue Rider, and just the like tiniest venue. We're all, pushed tables to the side. We're up there, and somebody, their guitar just would not stay in tune. They could not keep it in tune. It just would constantly go out of tune. So they just borrowed someone else's guitar. They just borrowed someone else's guitar and got on with it. There's a band that was playing there that they played that show, and then their next show, I think they were from like Washington State. Their next show, I think, was in Washington the next day. So they had to drive like overnight through fucking all of fucking Montana
and Idaho
in the early hours of the morning. Yeah. If you can, I don't know, actually, like, because I mean the show got done, relatively late, and then they immediately left and packed up and got on the road. I don't know if you could even get to Missoula before daybreak. Like if you left Minot at midnight, I don't think you could get to Missoula by sunrise.
No, I mean you have to go through half of North Dakota, all of Montana.
Montana's fucking massive.
It is,
and North Dakota's not small either.
It is not.
We don't have a lot of people, but we are a geographically large state.
Right. Me and one of my best friends at the time drove from here to Tacoma one time, and that, god damn, that's a drive.
Yeah.
Montana is hard.
Yeah. Well, because you get through like eastern Montana is just more North Dakota.
That's all it is. Yeah. And there's a lot of it. More
North Dakota, and there is a lot of it. Things get marginally more hilly once you start getting to like I guess I don't know what towns are around there, but like the Little Bighorn area, where the battlefield is at, like it's quite a bit hillier there, but there's still not like trees and shit. Like it's still mostly prairie, but it's just the
Missoula's in the mountains, isn't it?
Missoula is in, Missoula is nestled up in the mountains, but like you don't start seeing like, it's probably like an hour before Billings is when you can actually lay eyes on some mountains, and Billings is probably a solid, like pretty close to almost in the middle of the state.
Right,
I think
200 miles in. I mean,
Billings is in sort of the south central part of Montana.
How far is Billings from Glendive?
Glendive. Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay,
I don't know. I've actually only, I've only really been to Montana once,
really,
honestly, and that was on our way to Yellowstone.
Well, that's partially in Montana.
Yeah, that's true. But like we didn't spend much time in the Montana part of the park. I guess technically we did, because I think that's where we stayed. Was our hotel was in one of the towns that's like, built on the basically built on the border of the park.
Right. We
was
tent camped when we went the last time.
Oh wow,
it was great.
That's a lot.
Oh, it was awesome though. I got out of my tent to take a crap in a shower. Not take a crap in a shower, and a shower. And I'm standing with my
Waffle
towel,
stomp.
and there was like an 8-foot elk.
Oh my God!
In front of the men's room door, and I'm like, I'll come back.
Oh yeah, I don't need to go.
Yeah,
I don't need to go that bad.
Yeah, I'll be fine for a bit.
Oh, I can stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't remember what town that is, but there's a town in Montana, right outside like the north gate.
It's not West Yellowstone, is it?
No, it's I can't remember. I would have to look at a map and tell you. But and we went through. It was weird because we went over Beartooth, and we actually sort of dipped into the park a little bit because we went through. Oh God, I'm forgetting all of the geography. There's another town in there that's in Wyoming that my brother-in-law used to go snowmobiling at all the time.
A town, Jackson.
Not Jackson. No, it's on the north side.
On the north side of the Tetons there.
Yeah, on the north side of Yellowstone.
Oh, okay.
Because the Tetons are south of Yellowstone.
Right.
Fucking shit. Google Maps. Stop it.
What's it doing?
Not its job. The town. Oh, Cook City.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So yeah, we went over the Beartooths, got to Cook City, and then Gardner's where we stayed. Gardner, Montana.
Okay.
So technically, I have, we did spend some time in Montana, but
sure.
Not, just a tiny town before we went into the park. But that's the only time that I can think of that I've actually really, I'm sure at some point, like in my childhood, we were out west and maybe there was probably one or two sports occasions maybe that we attended to that we went all the fucking way to Montana or something, because that's what happens when you live in the middle of nowhere and you want to have high school sports, is sometimes you have to drive for 5 hours to have a basketball game.
Right.
Maybe that happened at one point or another, but I can't remember it. It's weird because it's kind of right there. I mean, it's not really right there because it's hours of driving,
right?
But it is kind of right there,
right? It butts up against the state we live in.
If I wanted to just go to Montana and see the mountains, it wouldn't be that hard for me to do it.
Right.
Just take a couple of days off and go on a road trip and just go look at some mountains.
Or you could go skiing in Red Lodge, because I know how an avid skier you are.
Oh God. I mean, I've been skiing. I have skied in my life.
Right. As have I.
I don't know. I just get ever since I dislocated my kneecap.
Really? Did you ever find it? Or?
Yeah, it's I actually have it on a shelf.
All right.
They couldn't put it back in.
Okay.
But I dislocated my kneecap when I was 16, not skiing, but I think I was 16. Anyway, I wasn't skiing, but ever since then, anything that relies on the idea to me of rollerblading or ice skating or anything like that, where my knees are really a really important part of the whole process. And my feet aren't firmly planted on the ground and might slip out or, end up at some odd angle and my leg might twist. And that I get really paranoid about that.
Sure.
I get I don't know. 'Cause I just have bad joints in general, like all my family does. Our joints are not particularly good, and I don't know. I just get to me now, because I also was not good at skiing and wiped out constantly. It's something about it, just I don't know, makes thinking of the wipeouts that I had and didn't get hurt particularly bad because. It's you're on the snow. There's some cushion there, I didn't run into any trees, thankfully, but well, I did run into some trees, but not like big, thick ones that could break bones.
You didn't
ones.
Sonny Bono yourself.
Yeah. So it's just something about that. I'm like, I like sledding because I can just sit on my fucking ass and, wiping out. You can sort of absorb that with your torso.
Right. Or your face.
A little bit more or your face. But like, and if you need to bail, you can kind of roll and that sort of thing. I don't know. It's I feel like sledding should be a more acceptable, like wintertime sort of downhill activity for adults.
Sure.
Like
tubing.
Here's a thought, like on rivers and shit, adults go tubing all the time.
Right.
Like on, if you've got some slow river or whatnot, like, all right, here's, get on an inner tube and here's a cooler of alcohol while you're sitting out in the hot sun. It's like, why not do that, but in the wintertime? And you're just, going down a slope and maybe you have a can of beer.
a very obtuse slope. I mean, something.
Yeah, just like, all right.
Sort of casually going down.
You can drink some beer on your way down.
The only difference I think there is when you're tubing in the river and you're drinking beer, it's not obvious that you've just taken a piss.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's very obvious
when you've taken a piss while you're sledding.
Yeah, well, it's 5 degrees
or snow tubing. But yeah, I feel like if I had like, some sort of large stretch of downhill territory, I'd be like, hey, here's, like construct some sort of a snaking kind of sort of, something that's at just enough of an angle that you could go down it on a sled and be like, all right, everybody's welcome. Just have a chill time while you're going down a hill. I think that would be kind of cool.
The chill hill. Because I feel like now if someone was like, hey, let's go skiing, I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm going to be at the chateau, just drinking some hot chocolate. Yeah. And see you later. When you guys are finally done skiing for the day, you're going to get in there and I'm going to be hammered. I'm going to be hammered and you guys are going to be in so much pain. But look at me. I'm just having a good time. I'll be feeling none of that. I don't know. I like the wintertime and I like snow, but I think part of there's not a lot of opportunities to ski in North Dakota as well. Cross country? I mean, I don't know how to do that. Also, I feel like I'm not fit enough to do that because I think that it's a bit more physically intensive than downhill skiing. Yeah. Because gravity is working against you instead of your favor. So I have no experience with cross country skiing. That's something I think downhill and cross country stuff. I think is something I believe my dad knows a thing or two about. He used to have like in our attic there was like a set of I think like cross country skis. Sure. A whole bunch of very, very among the plethora of outdoor things that my dad did that I have never done because I'm a lazy piece of shit who doesn't like to go outside. That's not true. I like to go outside. I just don't. I live in a town, a city, and so outside is where people are. Right. Outside in the forest is great. Outside when you're completely alone. That's pretty great. I like that. Yeah, I remember being a teenager and it never dawned on me that the coulee, very long coulee behind our house, which is just where obviously a stream used to be. Yeah. And it made it sort of in an indent where there's lots of trees. Or when bushes. It rains a lot, that's where the water comes through. Right. And so I used to walk through there all the time and it never once dawned on me. There's a lot of coyotes out here. I don't know what you don't have to worry so much about coyotes. Yeah. Once you're over the age of like 13, you don't really have to be worried about coyotes unless they have like rabies or something. Right. Or there's a large number of them. Even then, I can't see, like, I don't know if I've heard of even a pack of coyotes going after an adult human. I don't know if I've ever heard of that because they're generally a bit too skittish for that sort of thing. Sure. I
I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Statistically, I'm certain it's happened at some point, but I think that is probably incredibly rare.
Right.
Even for a large group of them.
Yeah, they'd have to be like starving, and there was always lots of like deer and small animals,
lots
out
of
in the
stuff
coulee.
for them to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, there's been some coyotes hanging out by my parents' house.
Really?
I don't know if they've been dealt with or not. That was just last time that I was talking to my mom. She mentioned that, so I don't know. I don't know if the coyotes have been dealt with or not. But yeah,
I'm just imagining them outside the house, and your parents are looking for you. I can hear them out there going, "Boo, Erner." Oh shit, they're coming for us.
They're coming for. They know our name. Yeah, the one thing that's interesting about like coyotes as well is because there's no lack of them in North Dakota,
right?
So there's not like any sort of season on coyotes. You just need a general kind of hunting license, and you can shoot one.
And I think you can just generally shoot them if they're on your property.
That might be the case.
Yeah.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah,
we're not experts, but yeah, like I guess you can shoot them provided you are not within city limits and are allowed to discharge a firearm.
Sure.
In general,
like if you're out of city limits and you have chickens.
Yeah. I think maybe that could be how it works. I don't know though.
You can't have chickens in town yet, can you? They talked about it.
I don't know if you can have little chicken coops or farms or whatever in Minot city limits.
I would totally do that.
Have some chickens. Some chickens.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with the chickens?
Well, I have fresh eggs all the time. And then occasionally, one would lose its head.
Yeah.
And its feathers and feet.
Yeah. That's
and then I hit it with a baseball bat. No,
you're gonna do good luck doing all of that especially if you're plucking the feathers first on a live chicken.
Well, no, I'm gonna cut its head off first.
Okay.
You'll pluck a live chicken. That would be insane.
I forgot about the head part because you ended it with, and then I'll hit it with a baseball bat.
Right.
So I forgot about the decapitation part and went like, oh, he was doing a joke about being like a horrible psychopath who would do all that to a live chicken.
No, I would not do that to a live chicken.
Even if it's got its head cut off, it might still be alive.
Sure.
Because that happens with chickens.
Yeah.
I
would do that with a cat, not a chicken.
Oh.
No, I would not. No, I wouldn't.
Don't say that in front of Zima.
Do that for you. No.
You don't. Her poor ears. Her poor little ears.
Yeah.
But I covered her ears. I did a visual gag on a podcast.
I was actually invited to go slaughter chickens here recently.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because the girl I was dating, she has 42 children, and her mom and dad have chickens, and so once a year she sends her kids out to mom and dad's house to slaughter chickens.
I see.
And she's like, "Do you want to go out and do this with us?" And I'm like,
No,
I don't.
How about no?
Let's go do something. So we went camping instead.
There we go.
Up by Lake Metagosh.
The Metagosh. Or Metagoshi.
Yeah,
if you're not a weirdo.
Or Canadian.
Do they say Metagosh in Canada?
Do. That's how they pronounce it.
Interesting. Yeah. I was thinking of one of the last times that we stayed at our family, a friend of the family. Her name is Carol. She had a ranch out in the western part of the state, out in the Badlands. And we would stay like at her place while we were hunting. And her granddaughter, who's a girl I went to high school with, had apparently showed up a few weeks before hunting season at some point, and just had chickens. She just had some chickens and shoved them off on her grandma. And Carol was like, what the fuck? Why did you give me these chickens? Just like pissed off about it. Yeah. And they would not shut the fuck up while we were there.
The chickens?
Yeah, the chickens. And so there was the chickens also one night were having like a face off with a couple of coyotes.
Oh.
So that the coyotes didn't get in there, but they you could hear them and they were like, oh, those are at most 200 yards away. They're just beyond the edge of the yard light.
Right.
But Carol just got sick of them, the rooster especially making fucking noise. And so like the second or third day we were there, like, where'd all the chickens go? And we walked into the shop, and then there's Carol with with her knives out, like in the middle of plucking the chickens. Like, oh, that's where the chickens went. It's just I got sick of hearing them.
So we're gonna eat them.
I think she invited us to do so. I don't think we stuck around long enough. Unfortunately, I think we had to take off, or we were. I think we may have filled our tags, and we're like, "Well, we filled our tags, so we're gonna go home."
Nice.
But
because you were out there hunting.
Yeah. No licenses this year for my family.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody got licensed. Why not?
Nobody. Just that's the way it works sometimes. And
so you applied for them and you didn't get them?
Yeah, well, because it runs on a lottery system.
Sure.
I guess we could have had licenses. We didn't have tags. You buy a license. Everyone can buy a license, and then you apply to a lottery to receive tags.
Right.
And none of us got any this year. Deer numbers are kind of down across the state.
They
anyway.
are. Well, we had chronic wasting disease of it.
A couple different diseases, and then there was a couple of hard winters.
Right.
And that's just how it goes. So they issue less licenses, and we generally don't reapply if we don't. Because like you can keep on applying or apply for different units or that sort of thing. We're usually like, that's kind of where we want to be out. Like the unit where we like to hunt. It's like, we don't really want to go anywhere else because we don't know our way around.
Right.
We know where to go out there where we usually go. Just outside a teeny tiny little town called Grassy Butte.
Grassy Butte.
Grassy Butte.
Yeah.
That's the area that we generally hunt in. And like my dad knows that place kind of like hits the back of his hand.
Sure.
So he's been going out there ever since he was younger than me.
I feel like I've driven by Assy Butte several times.
It's along Highway 85.
Okay, that's why.
So if you're going between like
Williston and
Dickinson or down to Medora or something like that, then you go through there.
That's why.
That's why. Or Watford City.
Yeah,
very close to Watford City.
Yeah. I was going to say I've gone past Assy Butte here recently.
On this episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast, Regional North Dakota Conversations. Shall we move on from Western North Dakota and instead talk about Southern California?
Well, Northern California.
Yeah. Were they in San Francisco at the time of recording this album?
This, I think they were.
Okay.
I think they recorded this.
Well, who knows where precisely this was recorded, because it's very obvious listening to it that it was not all recorded at once, on the same equipment.
Right.
There is some rather wild inconsistencies between recording quality and sometimes even volume. Song to song,
which gives it its charm. I think
it certainly has a pretty heavy sort of DIY charm to it. I don't think it was DIY, but
no, it's D.R.I.
Hey, that's funny.
Do it yourself.
Stupid. But yeah. There's some pretty wild jumps in recording quality here and there, like the song Madman, which is the one that opens with the clip of their dad chewing them out for practicing,
right, and then ends with banging in. Hold on.
That one, like, that sounds really good. Like that, the recording quality on that seems to be pretty damn good. It sounds really good, and then like a few songs later, it's like, wow, this sounds like it was recorded in somebody's toilet. Like it's sort of back and forth and when it comes to that. But what I would say that this album has in spades is enthusiasm. Lots of enthusiasm. An incredible amount of enthusiasm. So we mentioned I think we mentioned anyway at the start of the podcast that they are a crossover thrash band. And let's be honest, at this point they hadn't quite crossed over. They hadn't really yet. There's definitely some metal influences there, but this is mostly a hardcore punk album. And it wouldn't be until their next album, aptly
crossover.
titled crossover
Yeah.
that they really sort of embraced crossover punk, because they were start of, or crossover thrash rather, like they were kind of a part of the sort of a wave of bands that were like, hey, what if we took punk and put some metal in it? Or what if we took some metal and put some punk in it?
Right.
But with the metal and the punk that currently exists, because people have been doing that since forever. I mean, that's what Motorhead is.
Right. Actually, if you would have asked Motorhead, they would have said none of that's true.
Yeah.
It's just rock and roll.
It's just rock and roll.
That's what Lemmy would have said. But yeah.
But listening to it, it's like, oh, this is punk and metal sort of married. Between, and if you look at the people who liked Motorhead, it's like, oh, there's some metalheads and there's some punks.
Right, which worked out in a bad way at first.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, people got killed.
Speaking of really quick, because I mentioned it today, I guess I didn't look into it more, but I mentioned, I walked in because I saw a tweet. Are they still called tweets?
I don't know.
I guess they're just posts now.
Yeah.
But stupid. Anyway, I saw like when you have the brand recognition that like this is the thing, you call it that.
Let's be honest.
You have a verb.
There hasn't been a right move through the whole situation.
Anyway, it was from Snoop Dogg saying that he was giving up smoking weed. I didn't look more into that to see if that was actually like verified, and if it wasn't like some weird extremely late / extremely early April 1st joke. But when I saw that, I came in, I was like, I feel like this must be what it must have felt like when Lemmy said he was going to stop drinking whiskey,
right?
And switch to vodka.
Switch to vodka because he had diabetes.
Yeah. So he switched to vodka and Sprite, I think,
something like that.
Because it was always Jack and Coke with him. It was
right.
I mean, I'm sure there was plenty of straight Jack Daniels, but it was usually Jack and Coke with Lemmy, as I understand. At the Rainbow in Los Angeles.
Indeed. Which, by the way, when you work in a bar and you do things that are nice for the staff, which I do, I like to be helpful. I mean, hey, OJ, can you do this? And I don't really work with, they're not my coworkers really, but they kind of are. But if they ask me to do
You're
something,
in the same building regularly.
right, I will help. I'll do whatever they want me to do because I like to be helpful. And then they take a liking to you. Yeah. And then after
they take a liking to you? There's a werewolf there?
No, a liking, like one of those things that grows on rocks.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, they take a liking to you. Sorry.
Okay.
And so you'll order a drink after work, and that drink will be a drink you can read a book through because just pure liquor,
just pure grain alcohol, clear.
I want to give you the best value, and you drink it, and you go, I didn't quite enjoy that because.
I'm just drunk now.
I'm just drunk now.
I have to go home.
I can't feel my tongue. I'm calling a cab to go home from work early.
It's like, God damn it. You and your charity and kindness. Lemmy. Yeah. Apparently, I think there's a bronze statue of Lemmy at the Rainbow.
I believe there is.
Booth. I think that is like it's permanently reserved for Lemmy, which I think is sweet. But anyway, we were talking about D.R.I.
Yeah.
Not the worst diversion in the world to talk about Motorhead for a second.
No, it is not.
This was their second studio album. I would have assumed it was their first.
No, the Dirty Rotten LP was their first.
Yeah. So these guys, I mean, I don't know how old they were. I know the band was founded in 1982.
Yep.
So they hadn't been like performing together all that long at this point.
3 years.
3 years. So I think that, seemingly very young guys. And it's, we're talking about that fusion of punk and a little bit of metal in there. And boy, is it the punkiest punk that has ever punked. It is. I mentioned this to you earlier today. It to me kind of sounds like it is almost a satire of punk. Like it's the punk music that will be playing on a radio or at a bar in like a movie or a TV show where the writers and producers didn't care that much about punk. Like, and I think that just comes from the youth and enthusiasm of just like, we don't give a shit to be, to get super up our own asses about like how this sounds or like how deep the lyrics might be. Like,
I remember an interview with the band at one point. I read in a magazine. You used to have these things called magazines that were made out of paper.
I thought that's what you put in a gun that holds the bullets.
Yeah, and they're magazines.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, reading your magazine, and the interviewer kept saying, Kurt, as a singer, what is your, and he kept correcting her.
I'm not a singer.
You do not call what I do singing.
I would say like it's definitely not the worst vocal performance in the world. There's like, I mean, with everything this band does, I think it's they definitely, at least on this album anyway, because I haven't listened to the other stuff, but everything on this album definitely gets points for enthusiasm.
Yes.
The energy of it is palpable, even if the technique is not all there really in all quarters. They
honed their technique for future releases.
Yes.
But the like I say, like you were pointing out, the energy is not quite this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely that, like, it just seems like they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I certainly appreciate that. I did also mention though that when we were talking about this a little earlier today, that it does feel a little bit like they kind of wrote 5 songs and then it gave each of them a further 4 variations of that song and changed the lyrics for each one.
Right, you're talking about guitar-wise.
Yeah, the songwriting, it feels like there's a handful of riffs that they stretched into 25 songs.
Right.
Because it's like there are some where it's like, I swear to God, I heard that riff 3 songs ago. That's exactly the same riff. I think part of it is the drum beat also doesn't have a lot of variation in it. Like the drummer's not again, points for enthusiasm, not a lot of points for creativity when it comes to the drums. I think that was just kind of where punk was at though.
Right. It was
punk in general, I think, especially at that time, was not really known for its creative musical arrangements.
No, and see, the thing is I was alive back then.
Yeah, you were around.
I was around, and a lot of the drummers for punk bands that I knew weren't, drummers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, hey, do you want to be in our band? Sure, what do you need? Drummer. I can hold sticks.
I could probably keep time.
Right.
I can't even really do that, actually, but I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, I'm willing to be enthusiastic.
I'm willing to be your drummer.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of kind of fairly basic drumming. You're not getting you're not getting Mike Portnoy on this record.
No, you are not. Or Mike Tirana or
Bron Daler.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of flickety flamming going on.
Flickety flam on the drums, but not quite so artfully as he does.
Right.
Bron or Bran? I always forget.
I think it's Bron.
Fucking Game of Thrones. Ruined my ability to say, because also there's 2 people with that name spelled exactly the same in that show, pronounced differently.
His name is Brian. I think it would have stuck out in my mind if his name was actually Bran, because what's your middle name, Flakes?
Yeah, because there's Bronn of the Blackwater and then there's Bran the Broken.
Right.
Who has a better story than Bran the Broken?
I just remember looking Peter Dinklage's face when he said that on camera, and you could just hear his thoughts going, what the fuck happened?
What is this?
What is this?
And I'm going to be forced to pretend this is good for the sake of my career.
Right. I have to go out and do PR and stuff like that.
I do love that Conleth Hill just did not fucking care. It's like he didn't care about saving face with the producers or anybody. It was just like, no, this is dumb. This is stupid, and I will talk shit about this. It's been like, how long is it? Is it been 5 years now?
Since it ended?
Was that 2018 or was that 2019?
I don't remember.
Fuck me. I think it was it had to have been 2019 because I think I had been in here for a year at least.
Had you?
I think so. Because that also came out in like springtime, I think. Mm-hmm. And if it were spring of 2018, I would not have been in this apartment. I still would have been at my apartment across from campus.
Sure.
In any case, Game of Thrones season 5 is old news.
Yeah.
The oldest news, but it's still upsetting.
Well, you know, 5, that's season 7, isn't it? Or is that season 8?
8.
Yeah, 8.
Did I say a season or did
you said season 5.
What the fuck?
I don't know. You're right?
No. You know, a 5 kind of looks like an 8 a little bit. If you
it doesn't.
Well, on a digital clock, you just take some of the lines out. You take 2 of the lines out and you from a 8 and you got a 5. That's a fact, and you can't dispute that.
That's true, and I appreciate the mental gymnastics you had to go through to find that fact.
I'm not crazy, says the man who threw his hat in the garbage yesterday morning.
Hey, and we look for it forever, and you can see because I don't know if you realize this yet or not. Anybody who's listening to this, Kale's mom. So I don't know if he's got issues with that. He does not like things that change.
It's true.
He did, and then when suddenly his hat is gone, his world is on fire. It's no longer.
I was just confused. Was the main thing.
Well, yeah, I know, and I felt I'm like I'm feeling you, man. And I looked around for it too. I didn't look in the trash. You looked in the trash and you found it in there
because it was the only place I could conceive it having gone. That like it's the only place that it could possibly have gone that I hadn't checked.
And you interviewed a guy on the radio that morning.
Oh God!
I sent him a message.
Yeah. Did he ever say anything back?
No, he never replied.
Oh God. Did you say like, never mind, we found it?
No, I didn't.
Oh God.
No, in fact, I'm going to start sending him more messages. Hey, fucker, why'd you steal Kale's hat?
No. No. I wish you hadn't told me that. I wish I hadn't asked. Like, because you said you were just going to do it, and I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. I had brought it up like, did Tim take it? But yeah, obviously, like I didn't seriously think that was the case.
I didn't think you would have done it on purpose. I thought maybe you would have picked up his stuff.
No,
and I didn't imply that you stole it in the message. I just said, did you accidentally get a beanie with it? And then a little laughy face.
Like weird sort of. Yeah, I don't know.
I wasn't accusing him of theft.
Yeah. Somehow at some point I took my hat off and it ended up in the garbage. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Okay, you're not the only person losing his mind this week. I mean, look at me right now.
Yeah, you dyed your hair black.
Yeah. And I cut most of my beard off.
You cut most of your beard off and you dyed your hair black. You look like you look like half of a Halloween Oreo. the black hair and then the orange stuff. Mm-hmm. But you're missing
stuff.
Well, I mean, now you look like a whole Halloween Oreo because you're wearing a black shirt.
Right.
So you just look like a whole Halloween Oreo right now. Your beard is not that bright orange.
No, it's not.
Have you considered? Don't dye your beard bright orange. I mean it. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't.
No, don't worry. No, I mean, it's not like Target's on the way home.
Please don't. Please don't dye your beard bright orange. I'm only now just getting used to looking at you with the black hair.
Yeah.
And my brain is going like, oh, this is normal now. Mm-hmm. A bright orange beard, I think, would be too much. It would be too much.
I don't think they have bright orange at Target anyway. I think you have to go to, what's the name of the place over by Walmart?
I don't know.
There's a beauty store.
Hair salon.
Yeah. Right. Take my teenager. No, it's not a hair salon. It's a retail store for stuff to cosmetics and shit.
I feel like the person at the counter would probably look at you, look at the hair on your head.
Yeah.
Look at the orange dye and be like, Are you okay?
Yeah. You know, do you need a hug? You want to talk? Let's talk. Come here.
So back to the album.
back to dealing with it.
Back to dealing with it.
Yeah.
Does this album slap?
Yeah, it slaps.
I would say it slaps as well.
I got this from Columbia House, by the way.
Columbia House?
Yeah.
What is Columbia House?
Didn't I discuss Columbia House with you?
Is this one of those magazines that would like send?
It's a flyer.
A flyer,
basically.
Yeah, but they would like have music included.
I mean, yeah, it has all the lists, and you get a CD of the month. And you get
definitely
10 CDs for 7 pennies or whatever, and
for 7 cents.
Yeah, and then they make it really fucking hard to unsubscribe, so then they charge you an extra $16 every month.
Nice
for a CD you forgot not to order.
That's how they get you.
Yeah,
I believe you have mentioned that before. I was not able. I think there was like an all music score on the Wikipedia thing, but I didn't look super hard for anything else because I just kind of assumed that there wouldn't be that many like retroactive reviews that would have scores I could like aggregate.
Yeah.
Or like average out. I just assume. So I don't know. I am aware that this is generally like widely regarded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was considered probably much of a critical success at the time.
Right.
Because also when it came out, I doubt that there were many magazines and publications that would have been like, oh, yes, time for my review copy of Dealing with It by D.R.I. the way that, writers for music magazines do today.
I mean, we had them.
They existed, but
and eventually they did get magazine coverage.
But I don't think
1985.
I don't think those would have made their way onto the internet. At least in some easily available format.
Mm-hmm. Especially not at the time.
Yeah. So what's your favorite song on this album?
That's kind of hard to say.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. It's just 25 songs.
There's a lot, and they're mostly somewhere around a minute to 2 minutes long.
Right. The song I have a tendency to come back to in my brain because it is kind of my mantra. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be sleeping.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I also love Couch Slouch. I love what's one? I think it's right after Couch Slouch. It's
Nursing Home Blues.
No. It's
I don't
Stupid
need
War.
Stupid War. Stupid War is a fair bit before.
Oh, that's before, right? Yeah.
Couch Slouch.
And a lot of these, by the way, I hadn't given this a full spin in decades.
Uh-huh.
And listening to it again, my brain is like just corners of my dusty brain started to wake up going, oh, fuck, I remember this. Oh, I remember this.
Unlocking.
Yeah.
The memories.
Oh, I remember this. I remember where I was when I heard this.
I wrote down Karma.
Yes, that's also a great song.
I'm not sure I could tell you why I wrote down Karma, but I did.
I mean, they slow things down for Karma a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a little something more going on there, I think. So I was like, we'll write that one down because something on this has stuck out to me, but it has faded away into the ether. Anything I could have said about the song.
I think the problem is that you too much drinking beer and smoking weed.
Is Karma is the one that's about like drugs and stuff, is it?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
It is.
That punk song that's about like drugs and stuff,
or is it the punk song that's about politics,
or is it the punk song that's about like how you don't like your parents? What medal are you bestowing upon this, like Maskanata to Chewbacca?
It's a solid silver.
It's solid. I would call it, for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like. It's definitely a silver for me, but like honestly, I don't know if I would call it a low silver or not. There was, I think there's definitely been albums that we have listened to that I have still given silver to that I actively enjoyed less than this. So calling this a low silver, I feel like would not be accurate. Mm-hmm. But there was, I never could quite just accept it for what it is.
Right.
There was always a little bit of a like, all right. Like there was always a little bit of that sort of feeling, just like, all right, guys.
Come on, guys.
Come on. Just a little bit of that. I never really quite like could get into it and sort of let go of I guess my fucking hipster, not hips, my pretentiousness, perhaps. I couldn't quite let go of that. And just embrace this.
The reason I think I can embrace this now is because I listened to, like, this was fresh for me.
Yeah.
Then this is like new and fresh. And,
yeah.
And I heard live bands, and this is what they were doing.
This was cutting edge stuff. This was just what the stuff was.
Now this is, fucking 40 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Close to it.
Yeah.
Close to it. So yeah, that's dealing with it. Exclamation point, by the way. There's an exclamation point.
There is.
At the end of dealing with it, by Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. It's my week next week.
And you haven't thought of anything.
I realized that right now.
So it'll be another surprise.
Another surprise. I think I had some thoughts, but I don't remember what they were anymore. So,
well, that reminds me. Was it last night or was it the night before? It was the night before. I was working and I was on my last wit. And one of my coworkers was in, and he was really drunk.
Okay.
And he was talking about how he worked the night before, and one of the other coworkers was saying, "Oh, there were a bunch of mistakes." And he said, "Was I any of those mistakes?" And I said, "Nobody asked your mom."
Oh. What brought that up? That I said?
Huh?
What did I say that occurred to you, or was it just a thing that popped into your head for no particular reason?
There was a reason. There was something that triggered that, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay. That seems slightly out of left field.
Yeah.
It was funny, but it seemed slightly out of left. Like, what did I say that triggered that story?
I don't know.
Maybe it just popped into your head unbidden.
I think it was something your mom was telling me.
Oh God. I mean, it's definitely a story that I have told you before. I was not a planned child.
No, you were a surprise. You were a pleasant surprise.
I was a surprise. But yeah. So anyway,
their parenthood in your case was not planned.
Maybe that's what occurred. Oh God. Maybe that's what occurred to you is when it'll be a surprise,
right.
And that's what.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So yeah, right. Next week's album will be a surprise to all of you. Hopefully, less of a surprise to us because I will have figured it out and informed OJ.
Wait, here's what you do. Next Thursday when we're doing this, tell me right at 7:05.
There we go.
The album for this week is meh.
Yep. Any thoughts on this that you probably haven't listened to? Or how about this?
Yeah.
You listen to the album that you think I'm going to choose.
Okay. Oh, I could totally do that.
You're just going to try and find the most depressing album. Yeah. And we'll see if it's the same thing. No,
right.
That could be an interesting experiment to do for some time. But for now, I'll figure something out and I will tell you about it. But anyway, until whenever that episode is, why don't you go ahead and follow us on social media? We're on Facebook and we're on the website formerly known as Twitter. And you should also subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you use to listen to us. Go ahead and do that right now if you haven't done it already. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. I bumped the microphone.